Hello, good people. Before I get started, I would just ask for y'all to like, share, subscribe, invite people in. Okay? Hello, my good people. How y'all doing on this Saturday? It's your girl coming to you um, you know, on this healing journey. Um I apologize I wasn't able to be with you all last week because I was sick, but I'm better today, and I'm ready to get started. Some recap from the week before. I talked about my last relationship, um, how how much I loved him, was in love with him, how I wanted it to work, how much grace I gave. Um, the things that I found out, some of the things that I found out during our relationship. One of many was that he was married and um, they wasn't going to get a divorce. And just learning, I also shared that I learned a lot being in that particular relationship because it kind of helped me tap into what God gives us all. Um, but a lot of times, due to trauma and circumstances and things of that nature, we don't tap into what God has given us and that is natural. So I left off, I was going into the next thing that I learned about him and this relationship we was in. He had this female best friend that he wasn't willing to give up. And of course, as a woman, one of, the first questions that I have is, have y'all ever been intimate? Of course, he lied initially. He lied a lot, like he really lied about it. And but of course, like I said, things just didn't sit right, and things start to be revealed. And one of the things that kind of really showed was this girl was calling and texting all times of night. And I'm just like, for her to be your friend, why is she calling this time of night or morning, or why is she texting? Like it didn't make sense because typically, like, none of my friends, female or male, whether I'm in a relationship or not, they don't call me 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. They're not. I mean, unless it's an emergency of some sort, we don't play those games, and I don't do it either. And so that was real strange to me. Um, and again, like I said, my gut starts saying, "Hey, something ain't right about this," and then she started leaving messages, and I would see them, and and then I'm like, but I thought that y'all never been intimate, but come to find out, he had been intimate with her. They had been doing this thing for some years, and she just felt entitled to be a part of his life, in his life, and he made it okay. And so, again, like I said before, I was foolish. I was silly when it came to this relationship. Looking back on it, sometimes I just be wanting to slap myself because um I was really gullible. I was really a fool. Um but again, I don't know. I really can't say why I just stayed and endured all that. Like I said, besides that, I loved him and I wanted him. And I felt like, okay, things would change. And they didn't. They didn't. And the girl, actually, I went to school with her. And that, like, was another part of it because then she attempted to be messy with me. And I don't do messy. Um, but she knew me. She knew she knew me as far as I better not really play with her, but I'm gonna try because we're grown now, and I'm gonna try it a little bit. I'm gonna see how far it'll go. And it was, it got so crazy to the point where her man, she was in a relationship, and her dude was calling him about her. It was like the craziest thing, right? But then um my son, my oldest son, ended up going to jail in August of 2019. He went to jail. And that was a whole thing, but hey, I had told him and he didn't listen. Right? So I was dealing with that. A lot of things kind of, wasn't I wasn't focused on because my baby was in jail. And so um from August to October, things was rocky and crazy and all the things, but then we get had another tragedy to occur, and it was his son losing his life. And that broke us. Like, it broke our hearts. It was horrible. That was a horrible time for us. Because, him and my son was the same age. Literally, they was months apart. And they was inseparable. They was like they rode together, like they was tight. And to have one son in jail and one son no longer with us, that was definitely a trying time. That was definitely a trying time. And for me, I felt like, of course, I wasn't gonna run then, because I felt like he needed me. He needed my support. He needed my shoulder. He needed my love. He needed my caring and being concerned. He needed me in his corner. Um, and of course, I was there. And I I'm an action person. Um, I I just jump in and do what needs to be done, help where helps needs to be helped at. That's who I am. And bearing my brother years before that, um, gave me a little idea of how to handle, funeral homes and all that stuff. And I knew that was going to be really a challenge for him and his child's mother. And so I tried to be present and helpful. Um, but of course, women, it's either, to me, when you're dealing with people with ready-made families, is what they used to call them, or you're coming into people's lives that have children, you just never know how it's gonna go. You don't know how the other parent gonna receive you or accept you, or how things gonna be. And I didn't know her, and I tried to be as, like, to me, I thought I was being a friend, being a mother. That, no, it wasn't my biological baby, but because I wasn't his biological mother, um, I felt like it was a little easier for me to do help with the preparations than it would be for her and him. And it was, for the most part. Like, they was distraught for good reason, I may add. Because even me, but I knew that somebody had to be a little bit stronger, to handle things. And so, of course, that's what I thought I was doing. But um, she felt like I was overstepping. She felt like I was doing too much. And so, I respect that, at the end of the day. But what I found out was it wasn't so much of me overstepping and things like that. Some people are miserable, even in a state of grief. And sometimes, if it looks like you're getting a better version of someone than they got, it's intimidating. And I didn't realize it until time went on. And so what had happened was, he came to me like, hey, I'm gonna let you sit out on this stuff, because, my child's mother is not comfortable, and at first he didn't tell me exactly what was going on or what was really said. Actually, his mother ended up telling me that she felt like I was overstepping or whatever. And I was just like, okay, that's fine. But the crazy part is, she reached out to the wife and asked her to help. Even though, like I said before, they hadn't been together in years, but because she was familiar with her, then, and of course, is his wife, she reached out to her. And that was a whole nother shit show, to say the least. Because, they did they whole little, it was like this whole little family thing, and I'm on the sideline, right? And um the wife, she rode in the family car with him and them and all of them. And I had to go on my own. And I really attempted not to make it about me, because it wasn't about me. But at the same time, me being his woman, us living together, us being in a full-fledged relationship at that time, I did feel a little disconnected. I felt pushed to the side. And I felt like no one owed me anything, especially the women. Only person owed me anything was him. And he should have made sure that things was clear and set in a particular way. But of course, people say, well, what about you? They lost their son, da da da. And all of that is true, and I get it. But again, we was in a relationship. We lived together. It wasn't like I was just this chick. We literally lived together. So anyway, move forward, get to the funeral, and they on the front row and they sitting together, and I found me a seat because I'm gonna pay my respects because I love the kid, at the end of the day, no matter what. And I didn't do the walk around to view the body again. First of all, I was told that they wasn't doing another viewing. So that was I was like, cool, I can just sit in my seat. But then they did. But I didn't walk around because I had already put it in my mind I wasn't going to do that. Anyway, so I didn't walk around, but of course they went up there together as husband and wife. And I was just sitting there like, wow, where do I fit? Right? We went to the cemetery. I stood in the back, and I'm just thinking like, this just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. But of course, you don't want to start anything or create nothing in the middle of something like that going on. I mean, because it's hard enough, right? So I wasn't going to go to the repast, but one of my kids wanted to go since she didn't get to go to the funeral and stuff. She wanted to go to the repast to be with his other son. And so I was like, okay. And I let her know. I said, when I get there, I'm gonna stay in the car. You can go in, pay, be with them, and I just sit in a car or whatnot. That's what I did, and that became a problem because the son and his mom wanted me to come in, and I, politely declined because again, he had the ex-wife, the baby mama, another baby mama there. And I already didn't feel included in none of it. So it really didn't make sense for me to pretend. And I'm just not that girl. Like, if it's not work, like it ain't doing right, we not pretending like it is. I don't sit and grin like everything is okay when I know it's not. And I didn't want to be in a position where something can be misinterpreted or something started that didn't need to. Of course, he came out, asked me to come in. I told him no. Of course, he felt the way about it, but it's weird. Like, it's so weird how you feel a way about me not coming into the repast when I've been pushed to the side for every other part of it. I mean, maybe it's me. Just maybe it's me. But I just didn't understand that. And then I noticed, the wife and the baby mamas, came out together. Mind you, I was told that they didn't never get along. They don't like each other, but they came out together. They laughed and talking. And I knew it was, for me. But it don't bother me because I don't deal with y'all. I don't know y'all. And so ain't no point of trying to be messing with me because you're gonna be a fool for yourself. And we end up leaving and he expressed his disappointment in me, and I was just like, wow, like you're disappointed when you didn't even pay me no attention at all until we got here. And that was not even real attention. So, and not attention as in the focus is on me, but just, letting me, including me from point A to point B through the whole process. I wasn't included. And I accepted all of that. I accepted all that. I grieved that a lot by myself, because that hurt me. Losing that baby, it was almost like me losing my own child. It really was. Cause I never been in that situation, and that kid loved me and I loved him. And yeah, it was tough. But it was my feelings was what's the word? Was kind of looked over because I wasn't the biological mother, because it wasn't my son, and I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate that at all because I loved him and we had our own relationship. And looking at him, I'm thinking about even my son that's his age that's making stupid decisions, even though he didn't even make a stupid decision. He was being a hero. He was being a peacekeeper. He was doing the right thing. And so fast forward, all that stuff, happened. And like I said, I just started finding out all kind of stuff. We went on a family trip together, and this dude invited, I want to say, 3 different women on a family trip that we went on. And when I found out about it, his response was, "Oh, I knew they wasn't going to go." What? So, and of course, I'm a question person. And that's one of the things he hated about me. He didn't like answering. He don't like to be questioned. Is. So my thing was, what if any of them or all of them would have said yes, and they would have been able to go? How would have played that? And then not only that, how do you invite people on a trip that you didn't even plan? It wasn't your idea. It wasn't your plan. So how do you do? Oh my God, let me tell y'all. The foolery was at an all-time high. Like I I knew I started to know something was extremely wrong with me in this relationship. I knew that I hadn't healed a lick of what I thought I had healed in this relationship. I realized that it was so many things that I needed to work on, that I needed to get rid of, that I needed to accept, that I needed to be free of in this relationship, because I was foolish. Like I was a real live fool in this relationship. And for the women out here that has been, is currently a fool, give yourself some grace. Sometimes we don't know better. Sometimes our traumas and our self-worth allow us to accept things that in our hearts We know that it's not right. But in our minds, we think we make excuses. Excuse me. We make excuses because we either feel like we not going to get nothing better, that we deserve it based off of the trauma we've been through, or that that's the best that's gonna we can get based off of life, the life we've already lived. And what I want to say to you all is that never ever let somebody play with you, play in your face, play on your intelligence, play with your feelings and emotions in the way that I allowed someone to do me. Because um I did, all in the name of love. And what love had to do with any of it? Nothing. It was a nightmare that I walked through for almost 7 years. And the thing about it was, like I said, my son went to prison. His son ended up losing his life, and then things just start to happen. Things just start to happen. We finally found a place together. We moved in together. Um, And then I noticed him starting to kind of retreat, like where he didn't want to go nowhere, do nothing with me. It was just like, wow. And then he started making these excuses. Oh, I need to fix this about myself, and I need to do this for myself, and I don't like this. And I'm just like, since when? We done been all kind of places, out of town, different things. Like, when did this become an issue? And so again, I made it about me. Oh, you don't want to be seen with me. You are not attracted to me. You think that I look away. Like, I made it about me. And it wasn't about me. But at that time, I'm like, oh man, he don't want to be seen with me. Damn. And of course he would say, oh, it ain't you. But I'm like, who is it then? Because who you don't want to run into. Then I may, start asking who you trying to hide from. Like, it was a draining relationship. Even though I loved him, it was so draining because it flipped before I knew it. It flipped. And I was in it. I was in it so deep. So I felt like, shit, I might as well stay in it and see, where this go. And then my mama got sick. And the day after his birthday. And then my grandfather died 3 days after his birthday. My mom was in the hospital for over a month. Well, not quite a month, about 3 weeks. My mom was in the hospital. She didn't recover. And we had to let her go. One of the worst times in my life. And that's where I will stop. Yeah. Yeah. Worst time of my life. That's where I would end this live for today. Like, share, subscribe. Invite people in because this healing is working. It's necessary. It's challenging. It's overwhelming, but it is necessary. And I know that someone will benefit from my story. Um, so invite some folk in and share these videos with people that you know that may need um, some comfort, some reassurance, some some courage, because it can be hard and lonely when you're going through some things that you don't feel like other people understand. And I don't care how many times it's been done, how many times other people went through it. It's different when it's you. It's different. It's you. It feels different. It looks different when it's you. When you're going through it, you don't feel like no one understands. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to be looked at as crazy and stupid and foolish. And that's okay. That's what I'm here for. You can come in and you can comment. You can ask questions, and I can do my level best to help. But you don't have to suffer alone, and you don't have to continue to suffer if you don't want to. Sometimes we need someone to just tell us it's okay to walk away. It's okay to let that love go if it's not producing what you expected and wanted it to produce. It's okay. And it's okay to start fresh, start over, start new. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope that I said something that will help someone. And I'll see you back here on next Saturday with some more of this healing and exhaling and breathing as we're going to do week to week. Bye for now. Love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and have a wonderful Easter Sunday and a wonderful good Monday. Bye for now.